definitivamente fuera de contexto, esas bandas que podrían ser quizás alternativas, quizás metálicas y de verdad con un planteamiento totalmente diferente al usual. Do you understand some Spanish, guys?
No, not at all.
Not at all. You Twiggy?
I know how to say mi mono en tu culo. I think that means my monkey's in your hand.
Yeah, it makes total sense. But you're from South Florida, so it's kind of you're like closer to this kind of a Latin environment. But
Yeah. I haven't learned Spanish yet, though, unfortunately. I know.
you're going subtitled now, so that's no problem.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about like this guy has an album out, and it's very, I don't know, meaningful in terms of what you're telling about this whole. We come from Latin America, so this is not America for us. It's very different. It's a foreign experience.
Right.
But you talk about like this American thing going on in terms of I don't know.
Right.
It's different in terms of.
I've found that a lot of people from other countries understand our music more than some people in America because when you're involved in America and you're a part of it, it's hard to look at it from an objective point of view. And I'm looking at it from an objective point of view, and I'm seeing how America raises children to be ashamed for who they are and raises kids to feel guilty for being individuals, and how America's constantly trying to keep you from thinking for yourself.
That's portrayed in an American family. You refer to the people in the United States.
Right.
Pretty meaningful. There's, could you introduce yourself because you're in charge, Mr. Manson?
Yeah.
In charge of vocals. And you?
Twiggy.
Twiggy.
Bass.
Bass. How many members in the band?
5.
5.
Guitars, keyboards, and drums, and us too.
What have changed to you guys because you got in touch with this Nothing label, Interscope, with the help in a way of Trent Reznor?
Right.
Did your life change in a way? I've been in Bottom South many times. Did your life change from Bottom South, like playing little bars, to now like last year, Nine Inch Nails, and now Danzig? Like you're massive now in terms of that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't let anything go to our head, but we've worked hard for 5 years, and then we worked things out with Trent and got on his label, and he believed in what our music was about, and we just had to start over from the beginning. We had developed a big following in our hometown, and then we had to start from scratch in America and do that all over again. So we're just working hard to just tour and get our music out, because a lot of our stuff isn't really acceptable for the radio or for television, so we have to expose people to it in different ways.
Well, at least in Headbangers we've been playing heavily your 2 videos, so that's great.
That's
so Lunchbox and Get Your Gun. What about Twiggy? What about the name of the band? There's some sort of balance between the Marilyn element and Manson element. What's the meaning of? You don't like too much to talk, don't you?
It's all about scabs,
What? Okay, it's like that.
5 years ago, when I was kind of putting together the band, Marilyn Manson was a name that I thought really described what my personality was about and what I wanted to represent. Because in America, Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson were 2 of the most memorable people from the 60s and from my childhood. And I thought that balance that they created between male and female and positive and negative and good and evil and whatever words you want to fit into that equation, I thought that really represented what I had to say, which was something that didn't fit into either category. It transcended the boundaries. It was in the gray area, and that's what we're about. We're not right or wrong. We're what we are, and we have our own.
It's all about like a balance or a lack of balance, maybe. It's
right.
2 elements.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're gonna watch a video from you guys aquí junto a Marilyn Manson. Esto es el video de Lunchbox. Seguimos en Headbangers, tenemos una pausa, pero de todas formas vamos a conversar un poco más con este concepto distinto. What about the video we just saw about Lunchbox? You have like some things to say visually in terms of, it's a good way to say things also. But
Lunchbox was a song that I wrote thinking about when I was growing up in middle school. I used to get picked on a lot for being a skinny kid and for being, for not really fitting in. And about 5 years ago, I found my old metal lunchbox that I had from school, and it reminded me of that time in my life. And I started collecting metal lunchboxes because in America they have different lunchboxes for different TV shows, and it's very nostalgic. So I started building up a big collection. We wrote that song, and I guess it kind of describes on an autobiographical level how I got to where I am. When I was a kid, I used to get picked on a lot for what I looked like, so I developed a chip on my shoulder, and now I'm kind of paying everybody back for, the chorus, I want to grow up to be a big rock star, so, that type of thing. So.
What about the composition, Twiggy, the composition in Marilyn Manson? You all to take care about the composition, or it's just like, who's responsible of music besides the lyrics?
The Chickens.
Okay.
And,
Well,
the Chickens, basically, they write the songs. Chickens write the songs for us.
Mr. Manson?
I write all the lyrics, and then these guys will work on the music. Our guitar player, everybody contributes on the music. Twiggy spends a lot of time at, if you ever been to Disney World in America, they have a zoo thing, and he likes to talk to the chickens. It's his favorite thing. So
Okay.
that's where he gets his inspiration from.
Mr. Manson, it seems that there's a lot of experience that you draw, like lyrically, about your childhood, about like your personal experience. That could be an experience of many people, too, in any part of the world, too.
I talk about the things that I experienced growing up. I don't try and talk about anything that I haven't been through. I don't try and think about things that I don't know about. I just talk about what I know, and I think a lot of people grew up the way I did, and they didn't feel like they could fit in, and I'm basically trying to share with those people so that they know that it's all right not to fit in, because you don't have to fit in. You make your own place to fit in. At the same time, I try and hang on to a childish mentality, kind of like Peter Pan, because I don't think you necessarily have to grow up. There's no reason why you have to become a responsible adult, I think, if anything, I'm proving that,
Very interesting point. And what about Marilyn Manson as a show, Twiggy? How would you describe? Because Latin American audience never seen they're hoping now because they've been exposed to 2 videos of yours. How would you describe a show of Marilyn Manson? You know about that? Good. I heard that it was very theatrical, very...
I don't know if you could call it that, because it's like on the Mickey Mouse Club, anything can happen day. That's what happens with our show. So the police are always standing by waiting to arrest us because they don't know what's going to happen. Things that you might see would be, we get angry sometimes and we break things, or we set things on fire, or sometimes Twiggy would like to wear brown pantyhose and a wig.
Okay.
That's sometimes how he gets his anger out. I don't know why, but I can't speak.
But Twiggy, don't you think that sometimes if the people use the word sick, it's kind of the interpretation of the people? Like sickness comes from, that is kind of sick.
He was carrying a bottle of Jack Daniels and he cut himself.
Okay.
That happens. No, I think people are, whenever people ask us about what we're about, I tell people Marilyn Manson is only as sick as you want it to be. It's all in your perception. If you can perceive us as being sick, then that's something that you have in your head.
It wasn't a bottle of Jack Daniels. I was carrying a bottle of Jack Daniels, but it was this little girl.
That explains it all. We're gonna do a pause. We're gonna go to commercials, and then we're gonna watch another one of the videos of a portrait of an American family. It's Get Your Gun. Así que quédense que vamos a seguir junto a Marilyn Manson. Thank you very much for your time. Seguimos con Marilyn Manson y hay muchas cosas interesantes que hablar acerca del punto de vista que tienen de la realidad y de listening your lyrics. Also, again, because it's very important, you portray something very different in terms of like your own alternative vision of reality about what's happening, maybe influenced by some literature, influenced by some what you saw, and like, I don't know, give me some names. There's some names that are coming like about like philosophy of life.
Some of the big influences on me as far as literature would be in America, Anton LaVey, the guy who wrote the Satanic Bible, Dr. Seuss, who wrote The Cat in the Hat, and
Strange mix.
I guess those are two of the biggest ones, you know.
In terms of music, you tend to like go into radical, heavy stuff.
I mean, we write aggressive, heavy music. The things that have influenced the most would be things like Iggy Pop, David Bowie, Alice Cooper, Black Sabbath, a lot of the classic bands, you know.
Have you, now that you're on tour with Glenn Danzig, have you had the opportunity to share some ideas about, like, it's very interesting, that's one very interesting thing about Glenn, about like philosophy of life, is have you had time to share some ideas and...
We've been naked with his bus driver, but that was the closest that we've come into sharing. We hang out with Glenn sometimes. He's got a lot of important ideas too, but we haven't really got to become close. But we did get naked with his bus driver, and he likes to tie people up and things.
And what about like, there's in terms of the music, watching your live show, listening to your records, there's some strange contradiction going on because it's like, it's very, in a way, pessimistic in terms of the lyrics, but it's, I don't know, it makes you very happy in terms of makes you as a really happy man. I mean, you're expressing what you want, but it's kind of pessimistic, it's kind of a...
Well, I tend to be a paradox. I think that goes back to the name Marilyn Manson. It's two things that don't make sense together. And that's kind of what I've based my life around. I've found when you put things that don't really belong together and put them together, it works right for me, at least. A lot of people are afraid to do that, so maybe if I can share that idea with people, I might be able to accomplish something.
It's maybe it would be pessimistic, but it produced pleasure, at least for the people who are listening.
Yeah,
so
I'm not a miserable person. I mean, I'm speaking my mind about how I feel about my life and how I feel about America. Okay. But I'm not a miserable person. You know, I think America's a screwed up place, but at the same time, I think that's what makes it great. You know.
Twiggy, what do you know about Latin America?
Is Eddie and the Cruisers from there? Or Fugees or something?
No.
I know that they kill the chickens, don't they?
They kill the chickens?
Yeah.
Where? In Latin America?
Yeah.
They dance with the snakes, right?
They kill chickens and they pour the blood on their heads?
Well, some places.
Yeah.
Some places.
I'd like to see that.
It's a very wild place.
I'd like to see that.
Okay. And last thing, 9 Inch Nails. What do you think about the music of 9 Inch Nails?
We like it.
I like the dance with the drummer. I like that.
Okay.
He played with 9 Inch Nails once. The guitar player broke his finger and he filled in.
Okay.
And also the guitar player, before he broke his finger, came on stage at one of our shows and took off his pants and committed a felony with me on stage.
I read about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
like 9 Inch Nails.
Okay, so let's go to 9 Inch Nails. Okay, now guys, thank you very much.
All right.
It was great to meet you. Good album, Twiggy.
Thank you.
Take care. Aquí vamos con March of the Pigs and Headbangers.